All right, we're back finally, and we have some really exciting cards. There's finally a reason for me to come back and make some videos. So Arena Anthology 4 is finally out, which brings us a lot of cool cards here, alongside our Into the Spider-Verse cards. Some pretty historical staples here, and things like Umezawa's Jitte, Noble Hierarch, Dauthi Voidwalker, Chain Lightning, Flicker Wisp. Like all of these have seen play in Eternal formats and are pretty cool for those reasons. Broadside Bombardier is another fun one that I'll play with soon. And yeah, a lot of cool things. There's also there's Arena Anthology 3 and 4. I think 3 is far better for a craft if you're looking to spend gems or gold. Okay, so let's hop over to the deck that we're going to be playing today, which for us is going to be a very fun one. We can finally play Sneak and Show with some of the new cards. So let's get over to the wide deck view and look at what we are playing today. Now, we're going to be in best of one, and we're going to be playing a very old archetype that I think is a very cool thing to play. This is Sneak and Show, and as you might be able to guess by what is in the name of this deck, well, we have things like Sneak Attack and Show and Tell. These are going to be our two ways to cheat our big fat creatures onto the battlefield. And those big fat creatures are going to be Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, one of the new cards that's come out. Well, at least been printed into Arena, that is. 15 mana, 15/15, can't be countered. When you cast it, take an extra turn, so it does get to attack, and when it attacks, it does Annihilator 6, protection from stuff, and it's a Shuffle Titan, so if it goes into the graveyard, you have anti-mill protection. Okay, cool. So that's pretty interesting. Pretty wild card. And then we also have Ulamog the Defiler, another decent card here. This one we want to try to have things in exile for, which is sometimes difficult to do, but we can make it work. And we'll typically do that through like a Chrome Mox, basically. And if we had stuff like Force of Will, then we'd be able to play that instead of Flare of Denial, but sadly our counter spell that we cast for free will not, in fact, be Exile Synergy for us. So it is what it is. We'll just need to cast Ulamog, which there are ways to do. And if we can get counters onto Ulamog, then it has Annihilator as well, which means that we're going to be wiping boards pretty often. And then finally, with only Show and Tell, we can get an Omniscience into play, which does help us do the cast thing with Ulamog and get some stuff into exile. So that's why we're playing some of these as our payoffs. And so then we need to figure out how we're going to make the rest of this deck work, and how we're going to do that is with kind of like a little blue shell here. Phantasmal Shieldback plus Flare of Denial, super great combo here. We get a blocker for the early game. We get something that will draw us a cards if it needs to die to a big blocker. And then, of course, we can sack it or Tamiyo to Flare of Denial to get a counterspell onto the stack. And then we have Tamiyo plus Brainstorm to get ourselves a Planeswalker. One cool thing about Tamiyo is that if we're able to -7 her, then we're able to get to the requirement of yet another new card that we're getting to play in this deck, which is Shelldock Isle. Shelldock Isle is a really cool one. This is a card that basically allows you to cast something for free using Hideaway if a library has less than a third of cards left. And really the only way to do that is for our opponent to be like on some weird mill plan, or for us to go and do a Tamiyo ultimate, which is possible. If we have Tamiyo on the battlefield, a couple of blockers, and maybe, we've annihilated something with a Sneak Attack plus Emrakul or Ulamog, eventually Tamiyo goes off, and we will then be able to exile half of their library and for sure have a lot more counters on those Ulamogs. Cool, so that's one thing, and then basically the plan is just get Sneak Attack, Show and Tell out early. We can do that through our 4 Ancient Tombs, plus any one of our lands or a Chrome Mox, so we do represent turn 1 Show and Tell, Omniscience, and then go off. This is a deck that can combo as early as turn 1, which is nuts, and then it's a deck that does have a little bit of grind potential with Tamiyo, Brainstorm, and some counter spells. Stock Up also in here as a card draw spell that can be cast early off of Ancient Tomb, goes deep, finds us what we need to do, and is generally a pretty decent card. Also gets pitched to Chrome Mox if we have to. I think that's about the deck. People way more entrenched in the Eternal formats than I have played this deck for many years in the past in formats like Legacy, so there's only so much that I can kind of give off here, but I hope that that's going to be a good enough intro for all of you guys. If you want to learn more, you can check out any of the Legacy content creators here on YouTube. That being said, let's go into round 1, and we're going to have some fun games today. I'm really excited.
This episode of FullControlMTG is brought to you by Patreon and your viewership. If you want to support the channel financially, the FullControlMTG Patreon is the best place to do so. With a Shockland tier, you get access to videos as soon as they are recorded and edited. Don't wait to get your hands on another FullControlMTG deck list. Otherwise, it's your support for the channel that keeps me going. Thanks for being here, and enjoy the video.
Alright, here we go. This is round 1. We have a decent hand. We have an Emrakul. We also have an Ulamog. If we can find either of our combo pieces off of a early stock up that we can play, then we're looking good. We also have Phantasmal Shield back, so our combo technically is protected. We're also on the play, which is a nice place to be. We're going to play 2 life for our Steam Vents here, go Phantasmal Shield back, then turn 2, we'll be holding up Flare of Denial plus stock up, so we'll be able to look essentially 6 deep to find something to play on our following turn. If we see a sneak attack, then we just also look for a red land to support it. Otherwise, we look for a show and tell, and then just try to show and tell an Emrakul in. Finally, our last thing. Opponent has some denial here with Strip Mine. Strip Mine, another card that's getting a little bit buffed this this update. We do have things like Crop Rotation coming down, which is fun. Chrome Mox comes in, it'll put down a Fatal Push, sure. So all of a sudden now we don't have any colored mana, which is a problem. Deathrite Shaman comes in, am I worried about that? Not so much right now, I think I'm worried more about a Renin 6. Here's Shelldock Isle. We now have to really avoid them looping their Strip Mine. This does have to come in like this. We can find another Flare of Denial as our thing to cast, I suppose. Not really any reason to do this or something else. I think we're kind of looking decent once we put something onto the battlefield, so I'm just going to go all in here. Countering our Ren, next turn stock up, hopefully find our show and tell. Opponent with 5 cards here, looking at targeting my Phantasmal Shield back. They could have land plus do something. Unfortunately, we can't really do anything about it. So, if the next play is land, exile my okay, not colored land, so we don't have to worry about a red. We make red. Is this Blood Moon? Blood Moon's a problem. Okay, just a Fable. That could have been way worse. Here's Scalding Tarn. We definitely are going Ancient Tomb here, stock up. And we just have to hope that we find what we want. Here's a Show and Tell. And then I don't need another Emrakul. I think I go stock up in case we whiff somehow. Alright. Unless they strip mine my Ancient Tomb, we're casting Show and Tell next turn, putting in an Emrakul. And then annihilating them. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 permanents now, so they'll be able to sack that treasure. And do I get my turn back, or do we have to deal with a Renin 6? I think Renin 6 will be too slow to play here. It's 1 ring. Okay, we don't care about 1 ring at all. We're not planning to attack this turn. Alright. Can you do anything about this? Show and tell. Priority on Deathrite and their treasure. We're putting in Emrakul. In exile, we have a 1 mana spell and a 3 mana spell. Okay. They just put in a land here. We pass. And we don't cast Emrakul, so we don't get an extra turn, which is sad, but we do have Annihilator 6 coming down next turn. See what they can do about it. We basically... I think Emrakul is kind of unkillable in this situation. We're looking pretty good. I mean, they're going to have quite a lot of things to sacrifice. However, they are in one-shot territory right now. Demonic Tutor, I mean, if they have an answer to Emrakul, they find it here, and they probably can cast it. We do not have Flare of Denial up. And okay, we're going to get round 1. They did not have a response. Yeah, it's a pretty powerful card. Definitely does not feel good to play against it. Annihilator 6, Annihilator in general, kind of a brutal one. Sometimes you can win through things, but, you know, Annihilator 6, very, very backbreaking. Alright, good round. Okay, here we are. This is round 2. Early Tamiyo. This time we don't avoid a dig for our show and tell or our sneak attack. I'm kind of inclined to send this one back. Although, you know, we do have Tamiyo, Flare of Denial. This does represent, I guess, a turn 1 3 drop. It's just we don't have a 3-drop that's really worth it. I think I mulligan. This time we finally see our sneak attack, which I do like. Let's keep this one. We'll put back the Ulamog for now. Chrome Mox probably not exiling anything too large. I mean, possibly the stock up. That would kind of feel bad, though. Possibly the sneak attack if we wanted to put 4 things down. So, like, you know, exile something large, play sneak attack, put in Ulamog. We could actually exile out sneak attack to Chrome Mox since we don't have red to activate sneak attack with necessarily. So maybe the move is Shelldock Isle, play Tamiyo. Turn 2, I guess. Ooh, that actually doesn't even feel very good. I mean, we're going to keep it. I'm debating whether or not Chrome Mox is used to cast Sneak Attack. We do potentially have turn 2 stock up as well. Ancient Tomb. We're definitely seeing a constant with the type of lands that we're playing. Or with the type of things that we're seeing on the other side of the battlefield. So now that we have Scalding Tarn, we can activate the Sneak Attack. I will, at the end of their turn, probably just fetch a Steam Vents. I'm right now not playing any Surveil lands in this deck, which one could argue is kind of a mistake. But I was kind of prioritizing having untapped lands for being able to activate the Sneak Attack. Oh, is this Tron? That would be crazy if this was Tron. If that is viable and timeless, that's actually so sick. If they're going to try to assemble Tron with Urza's Construction Drone. Tron, of course, being the 3 Urza's lands we're ending tapped. The Mine Power Plant and Tower. Okay, so we actually have Tamiyo Brainstorm here, which means that now I have to make a tough decision of whether or not I hold that up for Chrome Mox. They are showing 3 mana, 4 mana next turn, most likely. That could be Kozilek's Command to kill my Tamiyo. I could also just Shelldock Isle and hope that that's not the case. We could go Unprotected for sec, which means that... Well, what does that mean? That means that next turn we're playing a stock up and then not holding mana up anyway. Maybe it is just Chrome Mox put away stock up. We don't have a way to shuffle away our Brainstorm, so we have the potential of getting Brainstorm locked here. This is a little bit of a tough decision. I'm going to go with Shelldock Isle for now and just have a naked Tamiyo here. Finds me a land. Take the land. Oh, thought I was casting Brainstorm. Okay, so this Shelldock Isle does nothing. If they strip mine here, I do not feel bad about it. Alright. So, the question is Chrome Mox stock up or hold up Brainstorm plus stock up next turn. I am going to hope that I get lucky and that I do not get punished for my poor Shelldock Isle play. I mean, if this is the game where I flip Tamiyo, I could have had, where are they? At the bottom in a random order, right? Yeah, I could have had either Eldrazi Titan here. Okay, well, you know, it is what it is. Glaring Fleshraker, so I think that kind of confirms that we have to worry about Kozilek's Command. Very good to know. We'll take 3 here. And then our play is to attempt Sneak Attack here before they get too many permanents with Glaring Fleshraker. Sadly, this doesn't happen next turn unless I find exactly... Damn. Unless I find exactly Ancient Tomb. So we don't find Ancient Tomb here. I can pitch a Tamiyo to Chrome Mox, play Sneak Attack, which is now my play. And here's a Sneak Attack. Nope, no, it's not a Sneak Attack because I only have 3 mana. Okay, so then it's going to be turn 3 stock up because I didn't play a land this turn. We'll take this and then, Omniscience as a payoff to drawing a Show and Tell, or stock up as just a generally smart play to make. I think we take the stock up. I'd love to have that Omniscience, and hopefully I get to do something about it this game. Alright, we attack with Tamiyo, make a thingamajig, and this is a set of creatures that I do not want to just hide beneath the Tamiyo +2 on. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. If we draw a land, then we can Sneak Attack plus activate, which is wiping their board and probably securing us the game. So yeah, definitely just brainstorming here, trying to get my next turn set up. I think we can win this one here. That is 2 out of 3 lands for Tron. Scary. Warping Whale here. We will then brainstorm in response, try to flip our Tamiyo. They can have second Warping Whale. Looks like we're going to get it, and then now we also have Flare of Denial, which is huge, and Show and Tell. Chrome Mox is effectively our other land, though, so I think now that we're not going to have a creature, we get rid of Flare of Denial, and then maybe we draw Show and Tell. Pitch, stock up, play, sneak attack, activate sneak attack. Okay. Draw, Show and Tell. Alright. So this means we're going to get to flip our Tamiyo, and then next turn they'll be under Annihilator. They'll be able to keep one permanent. See if they play another thing here, they just send it back. Okay, so we draw that. We hit the Tamiyo plus. They'll be able to hit Tamiyo for as much as 2 if they keep a Resist Construction drone back. Alright, we go Chrome Mox, and we are going to exile. Where did the Show and Tell or stock up? I don't have a payoff for Show and Tell, so I could have a like a bad draw later. So I think I pitched the Show and Tell. And now, oh, it's actually a turn where we can't activate sneak attack. I kind of forgot how this works. Okay. So we have access to 5 mana, so we hold for a clue, we place stock up here. So that actually does mean that Tamiyo is going to be at 1 health. Well, we will have to do it. Yeah, maybe the move was actually to play Show and Tell there, actually. Okay, so we can pick up our Show and Tell and a Steam Vents. I like that. And then Steam Vents still doesn't cast anything. I think, you know what, probably the move is just to Show and Tell the Summerful out and forget about activating its Annihilator immediately. Okay, so that goes in. I mean, they can obviously put something annoying into play. Another Glaring Fleshraker, okay. So it's probably the case that they're going to make enough creatures in order to survive my Emrakul Annihilator next turn. However, they will go to 1. Sneak Attack is now live. Live to activate if I can find something to pay it off with. So Tamiyo can die here at the expense of 1 creature. I'm going to take out the Fleshraker. Tamiyo will go to 1. And they have something at instant speed, probably Kozilek's Command. If there were any deck that would have an answer to Emrakul, it is the colorless deck. So, something to think about. So Tamiyo takes 3, I'm happy with that. If they flash in some combat trick, it's alright. We just want to cut down on the amount of Scions they're going to have. Or Eldrazi spawn. Yeah, spawns. Okay. So they're thinking about something. Mana is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There is going to be the Kozilek's Command. They are in lethal range, though. So they're going to have to do something with this mana that they create. The modes were to try to find an answer and create the mana in order to cast that answer. I go to 3. They need to find another Kozilek's Command. Before we go to the top, was it Kozilek's Command? Do they have it? Oh no, they already have it because of the Fleshraker triggers. I thought that had already happened. Okay, so they're going to get us right before we were able to close the door, but that's how it goes with proactive decks. Could have been a little faster in terms of our gameplay. I think if I had just done my Emrakul off of the Show and Tell that I pitched to Chrome Mox, instead of trying to get that sneak and attack play going, which unfortunately didn't work because of my my single Steam Vents, I think we probably take this one as we do have 1 more attack going in. So, you know what? That's a little user error there. We'll move on to the next one and try to do it right then. Okay, here we go. What will this hand look like? Hopefully something decent. Sneak Attack and Show and Tell. Brainstorm to find a payoff and Phantasmal Shield back. I love it. Turn 1 Steam Vents me, please. And then if none of this works, we go Shelldock. Alright. Pretty important that we find something to do here. Otherwise it's stock up, which is honestly not terrible. We start to take a lot of damage through our lands, though, and that's going to be something to consider. Now I'm worried about a counterspell, so we're looking for Flare of Denial if we can find it. Bowmasters, okay. I think Show and Tell is open now, though. Crap. Just more shield decks. Okay, and no way to shuffle too, which is kind of lame. Don't need a second Ancient Tomb, that's gonna kill me. Is Sneak Attack too far off? No. Put a shield back on the way back. And then we do get to draw into these things, so maybe the shield back. Alright, we take some damage. Alright, so we get to fade this guy every turn for 3 turns, which feels good. The next turn, oh nice Emrakul, love an Emrakul. Okay, so then we go shield back and we just start to try to survive somehow. Alright. Always a block. Tameo, not quite. Ashiok. Well, milling 4 does eventually get me there. And an Ulalog is now absolutely huge. If I go to 11, it's pretty bad, so I don't think I can do that. Alright, let's play 2 shield backs, get a Tameo down. Oh, right. Thank you, Ashiok. Okay, so Tameo next turn then. Swords to Plowshares. Take some more damage. There's Brainstorm. Okay, so we have Tameo Brainstorm. Problematic. I think they could have attacked with the Bowmasters. I'm never really taking 6 if I can afford it. Okay, that's Ulamog. We can't play it though without a Chroma. Well, actually, we need specifically a red land. Well, we need a red land that also happens to tap for 2 mana, so yeah, not really looking good. Well, so I can Ancient Tomb, put an Ulamog in. Ulamog would enter with being insanely big, actually. So, okay, we go bam. See, like go for a force check or like any counterspell check. Then we go to 8 to show and tell in an Ulamog. That might be big enough. Flare of Denial back up here. Okay, we do get it. Here's Ulamog. It's a 2020. Or sorry, a 1717. They put in Otawara. So now we have blockers. And they do lose their board if we attack. So I'm liking what I see. They need a board wipe. I think they kept on top, which scares me. Swords to Plowshares, an issue. Swords to Plowshares is fine. I'm okay to gain that life back. That allows me to leverage Ancient Tomb into a sneak attack, into stock up, activate sneak attack. At the price of 4 life, though. And then, of course, Flare of Denial can cause them to need 2 Swords to Plowshares here. Ashiok, am I worried about this? Return target non-land permanent, I am worried about that, so we will cast that with Flare of Denial, sacking a Tameo. I think this means that I can annihilate their board. Mill me. We're getting close to Shelldock. We are not. Unfortunately, Emrakul trigger does not work, and sweet. We will take that round, even not really getting the Annihilator trigger to happen. We'll take it. Here we go. Shelldock Isle is one of our early plays here. We have some payoffs and some Flare of Denials. Uninspiring hand, I gotta say. Show and Tell can come early. I like this more. If I put a Brainstorm back, this means that eventually I get stock up. Okay. We'll do turn 2 Steam Vents, I think. Or sorry, turn 2 Brainstorm, that is. Actually, maybe it's just turn 2 stock up, pitching Chrome Mox, pitching Brainstorm, I guess. Then attempt for a show and tell. That seems early enough. We see planes. We can show and tell an Emrakul this turn now. Let's do that. All right, what do they have that they can show and tell in? We have a stock up to rebuild in case they deal with my stuff. It's an island. Okay. They need a way to deal with an Emrakul. They're not going to have 4 mana to destroy the board. I think, okay, so is this Reanimator? They could reanimate a Shieldred. I think reanimate Shieldred is maybe their only option. They don't have it. All right, I think we're getting to attack here. We might get to see an Annihilator trigger go off. Sweet. We are getting it, baby. Here we go. I gotta make sure I click through in case they want to concede, but yeah, let's get here. Mill me for 2. We are just going right in. That's Annihilator 6 on the board, baby. All right, we did the thing. It's a turn 2 show and tell, putting an Emrakul in. Turn 3 Annihilator 6. Yeah, Timeless is getting really, really fast. We're starting to look like an Eternal format here, which is pretty cool. A lot of power coming into the card pool. Here we go. There's a sneak attack in here. There's not many lands though, and Phantasmal Shield Back does feel worse without the flare. I'm probably not taking this one. I think we send it back. On this hand, we can put back a Chrome Mox. We have 2 red sources, so that already feels better for a sneak attack. Then we get to do a Tamiyo as well. Okay. I think we're going to slow roll our Chrome Mox. We don't really know what we want to get rid of yet. It's a Delver of Secrets. We're playing Delver in this day and age. All right. We hope that they don't flip the Delver. But who knows? Will it flip? I think they definitely immediately accept the trigger if they have something to do about it. Strip Mine, that does not feel great, however. Okay, that's fine. So we can go turn 3 stock up. Oh, do I do stock up here or do I shell dock? Shell dock probably is not casting anything here, if I had to say. Start with a Scalding Tarn. I guess at the very least that can dodge the Strip Mine activation. Then in our next turn, we maybe use our Clue. This all gets worse if Delver triggers early. Thank God we miss it again. Stoneforge, okay. What do they find off of this? Yep, all right, Cauldra. That's yet another thing that has been printed into Arena, which is pretty cool. You'll see that on my channel at some point. Cool to see the blue-white version of this. Enters tapped. I actually think that that's pretty good. You flip this into Insectile Aberration, put a Cauldra on it. That is actually really nice. Maybe I'll consider a blue-white version of this deck. Okay, here we go. This is show and tell, but we don't have anything to do with it. That's so sad. Possibly now I just go Chrome Mox, get a basic Mountain. That might be a lot of red. I'm just gonna think about playing stock up into show and tell. Tamiyo might need to block the Cauldra for now. That would go on. Well, it probably just would go on the Might for now, or the what is it called? The Germ token. So I think either way I do this, I'm worried. I'm pretty worried. I think it's pretty likely we just pitch sneak attack, so maybe I don't bother with getting so much red. Okay, we're going to put all of our stock into show and tell. Your stock up, It's an Ulamog. Ulamog's not terrible. Chromox, having gotten rid of the sneak attack, now is a little bit more relevant. Then maybe we just take a Scalding Tarn to thin the deck a little bit. Okay. That could have been an attack. What do they do for this? They can Stoneforge out the Cauldron, which seems very much like the thing to do. Strip Mine. That's okay. We can still cast our Show and Tell. I'm not worried. And I think Ulamog's just going to have to get us through here. They'll do their big thing. We're going to do ours. Annihilator 4 is going to wipe out most of their board. They'll retain the Cauldron. Just does not feel great. I definitely start to block with this Tamiyo. That happens every time here. And wow, they don't have it. I'm really surprised. That does not feel like a good concede to me. We're going to go play another game, I think. All right, let's go. We have turn 2 Show and Tell. We actually have turn 1 Show and Tell. That is insane. Let's go. All right, this is the thing that we said we wanted to do. Chromox, pitching Flare of Denial, play Show and Tell, putting in an Emrakul. Let's do it. Chromox. Pitch cast Flare of Denial. They did hold priority for some reason. Let's see if they have an answer for Show and Tell. Force check. And we got it. That is a funny way to go ahead and end things. Let's end things here. I think we've shown enough games. We've shown enough of the combo. Definitely a lot of strong things happening in Show and Tell that I'd like to just kind of get going through. And obviously, this is a deck that's going to change as we go a little bit further. I think that Shelldock is probably not in the best place right here. It's probably a little bit better in Mill, but we'll have to see. That's a deck that I do plan to play as well, so just look out for that. But regardless, pretty cool games here with Show and Tell. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.